So, have you ever hit a big money goal? Let's say $50,000. Stared at the number and just felt nothing. I mean, no confetti, no trumpets, just this weird, hollow anxiety. You feel like you've been grinding for years, and for what? If that's you, trust me, you are not alone, and it's not your fault.
It is such a confusing feeling, isn't it? I mean, you did everything you were supposed to do. You said no to the fancy trips, you automated your savings, and now there it is, 50 grand. But instead of feeling secure, you actually feel more stressed out than when you had nothing. That feeling, that's not a bug. That's a feature of a very specific, very dangerous trap.
All right, let's give this thing a name. We call it the invisible wall. And I'm not kidding when I say it's probably the most dangerous place to be on your entire wealth-building journey. Why? Because $50,000 is just enough to make the overconfidence monster in your brain wake up. It's that moment you switch from thinking, I have to be careful, to, hey, I'm kind of good at this. And that little switch, it's what sends so many people right back to square one.
Okay, so if we're going to smash through this wall, first we have to understand what it's made of. And it's all built by these little cognitive traps that our own brains are setting for us. It really starts with a simple, kind of primal way we think about the future. You see, our brains are wired for straight lines. We think, if it took me 5 years of grinding to save the first $50,000, well, it's obviously going to take another 5 years to get to $100,000. And you know what? That thought is just crushing. It makes the whole journey feel impossibly long.
But here's where your brain gets it totally wrong. Your perception is linear, but reality, the math of money, is exponential. That second $50,000 shows up way faster than the first, because now your money is working alongside you. The path doesn't stay flat. It actually starts to curve upwards, and the journey gets faster.
And here's the proof. This is why it feels like such a slog in the beginning. Look at this. In the early days, you are doing most of the work. Almost 2/3 of the growth in your account is coming straight out of your pocket. The market is just kind of helping a little. It feels like a grind because, well, it is a grind. You are doing all the heavy lifting.
I love this way of thinking about it. Imagine you're pushing a giant boulder up a really steep hill. That's your first 50 grand. It is agonizing. Every single inch is a struggle. What you can't see, what you can't feel, is that you're just about to reach the top of that hill. The miracle, that exponential downslope, is waiting right on the other side.
But right as you get to the top of that hill, a whole new set of dangers pop up. Just from your starting to feel good about your progress, your brain whispers this really tempting, really dangerous idea. Psst, what if there's a shortcut?
This has a fancy name, the Dunning-Kruger Effect. But what it really means is you know just enough to be dangerous. You've been investing for a few years, you've made some money, and your brain starts to tell itself a story. I've got this figured out. You start thinking that boring old index fund is for beginners. You are ready to get clever. And man, the clever trap is so tempting. It never looks like a trap, does it? It looks like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. A hot crypto tip from a friend. A meme stock that's going to the moon. A can't-miss real estate deal. You tell yourself, hey, I can afford to lose a little. But you can't. Not because of the money, but because you're gambling with the one thing you can never get back. Time.
Let's make this super real. I want you to meet Maya. She's 31, she makes a good living, and through years of discipline, she's saved $50,000. I mean, on paper, she is a huge success. But Maya feels more trapped than she ever has.
Because Maya ran the numbers on buying a house. And even if she threw every penny of her savings at it, her housing costs would eat up 67% of her take-home pay. That's not a budget. That's a financial prison. She feels like she did everything right and still lost. And in that moment of pure frustration,
The urge to find a faster way is almost impossible to resist.
Now, this frustration doesn't always lead to one big, risky gamble. There's a quieter danger that's just as bad, if not worse: ghost expenses. These are the slow, silent leaks in your spending. They're the financial equivalent of death by 1,000 cuts. And the true cost of these ghosts is just staggering. I mean, look at this. That $700 car payment, that's not just $700. Over 30 years, that's almost $1 million in future wealth you're giving up. That couple $100 a month on takeout, that's a $350,000 decision. These are not small choices. They are seven-figure decisions in disguise.
Okay, so that's the wall. It's scary, it's real. But I really want you to see what's on the other side. Because breaking through this isn't just about math. It's about changing your entire psychology around money.
So let's talk about what's on the other side of that invisible wall. It all starts with this number, $100,000. Now, it might just seem like the next step, but believe me, it is a completely different universe.
Here's the secret that your linear thinking brain just hates. In the world of compounding, $100,000 isn't 10% of the way to $1 million. When you measure it in time, it's about 1/3 of the way there. The whole game speeds up after this point.
Just look at this timeline. It might take you a whole decade to get that first 100,000, but the next 100,000, that might only take 5 years. And then the next one comes even faster. The boulder is over the hill, and now it's picking up speed all on its own.
But you know what the real prize is? It's not just a bigger number in your account. It's this word, optionality. It's the freedom of having choices. It's having what we call walking away money, the power to quit a job you hate, to negotiate a salary you deserve, to take a risk on yourself. That is real freedom.
All right, so how do we do it? How do we actually break through the wall and get to that freedom on the other side? The answer, my friend, is to build a system so simple, so reliable, that it's almost offensively boring. And that is exactly why it works.
It's a 3-step process. First, you automate everything. You take your flawed human brain and its bad impulses out of the picture. Second, you give every dollar a job using a simple rule. And third, and this is the big one, you protect your timeline even more fiercely than you protect your account balance, because your timeline is your most valuable asset. And here's the rule. It's dead simple. 15% of your income goes straight to future you, into boring, low-cost investments. 65% handles your life today, your rent, your bills, and that last 20%, that's your official permission slip to live your life. It's for guilt-free spending. It's not a luxury. It's the pressure release valve that makes the whole system sustainable for the long haul. I want you to think about your $50,000 like this. It's a tiny seedling that you just planted. For years, you watered it, and all you saw was dirt. Now, finally, a little green shoot has poked through the soil. It's small, it's fragile. The temptation is to dig it up, to move it somewhere you think it'll grow faster. Don't. The people who build incredible wealth are the ones who just let the seedling grow. So, I'm going to leave you with this question. What is the one ghost expense, just one, that you can cut today to give that little tree of yours a bit more water? Don't overthink it. Just pick one. The boring, consistent path is the only one that leads anywhere truly exciting. Your future self is counting on you to just stay the course.